Most notably, no keys are required, so the doors will just open at your choosing. And we are underway and set to go here. The king is going to give the instructions to our heroes, and we'll tell them to take the 3 treasure chests here, and we'll see what we've got. Well, we've got some big bucks to start, and some more big bucks. And, well, no key here. It looks like, wow, Joker, Joker, Joker. All 3 of them are gold, so lots of cash to spend to start here.
All right, hopefully they'll actually find a place to be able to spend that cash. I don't see any of them saving immediately, so we'll see what's going on. Of course, since we don't need those keys anymore, everyone's going to be checking that armory, see what they can pick up.
Well, it looks as though our runners are attempting to, at least, I see Archfield Monk was able to do so, take advantage of an oversight in the programming that has to do with the treasure chests. I'll go ahead and give that a go here as our runners are starting to get things going here. So treasure chests, they respawn every time you go to the overworld map. Ooh, has Game Boy taking a death there to a droll. And, ooh, Sleep and Hurt More. Nice combo for Brian Williams there. He's going to go ahead and reset. But every time you go to the overworld map, the treasure chests will respawn. But due to the programming limits at the time the game was made, only 8 treasure chests are tracked as opened at a particular time. Every chest open beyond that can be taken over and over again. So usually, you'll take 2 treasure chests from a cave, death warp back to Tanager Castle, and then there are 3 that are marked in the throne room as taken, so you don't take them over and over again. And then you go into the treasury as they had done, hoping by the 9th chest that there will be gold that they can take over and over again. So,
the good
in doing that,
grind.
Yeah, so they took their 3 chests to start, they left the throne room, went back in, and those 3 chests were marked once again. So that comes to 6, and then you go in and you open 2 of the chests here, 7 and 8, and then the 9th and 10th you can take over and over again for some gold. And that looks to be what's doing here. Brian Williams now getting some gold and also looking to grind on those torches, as not only do they light the way, but they also can be used as weapons. And we see here heading to the south that there is the town of Cole. So there's a potential search spot here and also some money to spend. Ooh, we got a magic armor. That's the best armor that money can buy, and a pretty good price at just under 1,000 gold. And a broadsword, the second best weapon that money can buy. That's pretty inexpensive as well.
My, looks like a lot of these guys are just being really cruel to our people with that wombo combo of Hurt More and...
Yeah, Hurt More and Sleep, or even worse yet, Sleep in the Dragon Lord 2 Breath that does damage anywhere between 65 and 72 hit points of damage. Given how low our runners are in terms of what they've got, that's not going to work out so well. Yeah, the Ghost looking to be pretty problematic, but we see some level ups going on here. And we saw in the Cole search spot, Archfield Monk had picked up the Silver Harp.
I also noticed a couple of our runners checked out the basement of Tantagel, and I believe that was Swamp South. I know he went over and then north. It could have been something else.
Yes, that was the southern end of the Swamp Cave. The Swamp Cave works in that there are 2 different entrances, and if you go into one and out the other, it'll lead you to a completely different spot on the map. Sometimes it'll take you to the back of either Tanager Castle, as the one entrance has done. It can take you to the back of Garenham as well, or it can just put you to the outside of a cave somewhere throughout the land.
Well, Game Boy just found a new town, looks like Breckenary.
Yeah, it looks like Breckenary, you've got 2 towns not too far from the castle, Cole to the southwest and Breckenary to the northeast.
Now, Breckenary's an interesting town. It's got the Motel 6 that'll leave the light on for you.
Yes, the inn in Breckenary is the least expensive of any of the places to stay. Only 6 gold, as opposed to more expensive in the various other locations. But it has a weapon shop, and as noted with these particular flags, weapon and armor prices are randomized. So that's what has allowed for a very inexpensive magic armor. As Game Boy going in and looking and seeing he's just a little shy on, but is going to go ahead and get the full plate, which isn't too terrible either, at 498 gold.
Breckenary's got a large shield, but it's kind of a pricey one, so...
Yeah, 2,372 gold. I don't see them necessarily going for that, because they're going to try to hold out for that silver shield, hoping that that has a heck of a sale as well.
Ooh, Drakey's also with Hurtmore. A lot of these lower tier enemies are turning out to be quite a painful experience.
Well, and you can see the difference of being able to start out Archfield Monk getting that broadsword from down in coal and just mowing down the enemies here, already up to level 5 and not too far away from level 6, as this Metal Scorpion will do that here. 110 experience needed to get to level 6, and with the 31 that'll put him up to 129, that'll certainly do that.
Yeah, there's a saying in the community about the jerk bats with the Drakeys that have obnoxious abilities like that.
Yeah, those murder bats are certainly problematic, but Jackamus demonstrating one of the new features of Dragon Warrior Randomizer, throwing a torch at it, and Brian Williams doing the same with the Droll, and throwing those torches, they do anywhere from 6 to 9 hit points of damage.
And interestingly enough, they bypass the resistances that some enemies have to hurt and hurt more, so it's pretty much guaranteed damage, which can be really useful, especially when you're trying to get your attack power built.
And a huge HP gain there at level 3. As we see on Brian's side. So Game Boy starting to catch up here, working on a Metal Scorpion, and that will get him 1 experience away from level 5.
Yep, also looks like in level 4 they picked up the heal spell, which is really useful.
Yeah, if you can avoid dying, it's certainly a good thing in, well, every capacity, but especially given that in this game, when your hit points get reduced to 0, you're revived by the king, but it costs half of whatever your gold is. And here comes level 7, 1 power, 6 speed, 5 hit points, and 2 magic points. And another new spell, it is Return. When you cast Return, that will bring you back to Tantagel Castle, where you started out. Bearing in mind that it is only able to be used pretty much outside, so no dungeons, nothing of that nature. If you're in a town, you can use it, but if you're in a cave or dungeon, you cannot cast Return to go back to the castle at that point. You have to cast outside in order to get outside to then cast Return.
And of course, in later offerings in the franchise, you will actually literally bonk your head on the ceiling if you try.
Yeah, those were fun touches that were added later, but here they kept things simple. They were still finding their way back in the mid to late 1980s.
It's actually kind of impressive just how much they did with how little memory they had available on their ROM chips.
Yeah, the Nintendo Entertainment System was certainly a marvel back in its day. I remember it in my childhood, even though I'm sure most of our audience might have been not yet around for some of that. Maybe
Jackie,
not most. Some we'll go with.
Yeah, Jackie looks like he's having just a little bit of trouble. Just walked into coal. Hopefully he can get something, but he's been having a lot of trouble lately and is a little bit behind on the experience. But of course, at this point, it's still anybody's.
Yeah, it looks as though there are some frame buffering going on Jack's side. We'll try to keep up with it as much as we can. Jack picking up the silver harp.
And that's actually 2 out of the 3 required items that they're gonna need to be able to ultimately get into Charlock. So they're already doing pretty good on their laundry.
Yeah, not too shabby, all things considered. So what's being sought after here are points in this case. So just because you don't finish in first place doesn't mean that you still can't gain something, as the first place finisher gets 5 points in the league, second place 3 points, third place 2, and fourth place 1 point. So those points do matter in this case. Oh, Demon Knight with that Dragon Lord 2 breath, and that's going to send Game Boy back.
Definitely something to avoid. Those Demon Knights are really bad at blocking people's escape, aren't they? One of the worst enemies to try and escape from outside of the Armored Knight.
I think I missed it here in the hullabaloo, but was it the Tablet Cave? Is that what Archfield had gone into?
I believe that was the case, yes. The Tablet Cave, where there are no enemies.
And what did we find in the contents of the chest? Oh! Well, we'll circle back to that in a second. Erdrick's armor, the best armor in the game, found in the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave for Archfield Monk.
A very valuable pickup. I mean, in addition to having the most defense, there's a few other features to this armor that some may consider overpowered.
Yeah, it's one of the best. It's definitely the best armor in the game, and one of the best in all of RPG history. In that, not only do you have the 28 defensive power, which is more than any other armor, but you don't take damage in these swamp tiles or barrier tiles, whereas normally you would take 2 and 15 points respectively. It reduces the damage done by the Hurt and Hurt More spells, as well as that Fire Breath and Dragon Lord 2 breath, by 1/3. It also negates the spell of Stop spell, so if an enemy casts it on you, it'll never work on you. And lastly, as if all that wasn't enough, in a But Wait There's More type capacity, for every step you walk, it heals 1 hit point.
Ooh, Brian Williams checking out the basement of Tantagel Castle, found himself an armored light knight, or as we sometimes say in the community, the AK-47, returned to...
Yeah, those things hit about as hard as one. That's where one of the communal nicknames come from in this case. So Archfield now on the other side of the swamp cave, and we see that it sends him out into the vast land. Game Boy doing a pretty good job of catching up here in terms of the levels. And look at this, we got a town and a cave right on top of one another.
Ooh, meanwhile, Brian ran afoul of a wizard with that wombo combo, slept and hurt more.
There's a big 64 experience there on the Wyvern kill for Archfield, and that's going to send him to level 8. 2 power, 8 speed, 8 hit points, 1 magic point, and another new spell. And let's see, we've got the town of Hawksness. An abandoned town, it's got enemies galore, and not enemies that Archfield wants to see as of yet.
Not yet. Looks like it was Radiant and Stop spell.
And now running into a knight inside the cave, which based on the movement looked like it might have been the grave of Garen, which has 5 treasure chests available, 3 immediately accessible on the first floor, the other 2 you need to open a door and do a little bit more spelunking. And we've got the fairy flute, also some big bucks, and a fairy water, which can be a projectile or can repel enemies.
The Fairy Flute can be a really interesting wild card because the golems that it works on are normally people you really don't want to play with, but if you can guarantee them putting to sleep, then you can kind of grind them down. They're worth a lot of experience. It's a slow grind, but a possible option.
Yeah, the Fairy Flute, it's like a digital piccolo, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, but it works only on the golem, and it puts the golem to sleep to allow you to be able to do damage to it, as it's one of the strongest and tougher enemies in the game.
It does take a while for it to do its little tune though, so it does take a lot longer than you would normally want for a grind. But sometimes you gotta take what you can get.
Yeah, it does take about 8 seconds to play the tune on the flute.
Looks like Archfield is gonna go to the bottom of the grave. Why not? After all, you don't need to worry about keys.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
Normally, of course, you would need to find Rimuldar and get keys before we can get down there. But well, this is a little bit kinder flag set.
Kind in some ways and not in others.
Well, it's still the randomizer tournament. We've got to give him some challenge.
Exactly, it is league play to say the least.
But this only being the first week, we're letting them ease into it with a fairly friendly flag set. Short charlog, no need for keys. But starting next week, things will start heating up.
Yeah, different randomizations, and that will come into play, yes, what is known as chaos. And this wolf is being a jerk here to Archfield, casting the spell of Heal More, but Archfield able to get the stop spell onto it and take it out for the 40 experience.
Yeah, Heal More is one spell you do not want to see on enemies because you can just beat them down until they're almost dead, and then you're gonna have to do it all over again.
So heading on through the Grave of Garen is Archfield, and we're going to take a look here. Brian Williams in that tablet cave, and is going to pick up a set of wings. So much action going on here at the same time, it can be a challenge to keep track of everything here. And that being said, want to give special props here to our tracker, CyberDark86, who is trying to handle all 4 screens at the same time and doing a bang-up job of it. So now the last chest here in Garen's grave is another herb. So the Fairy Flute, the biggest find in Garen's grave. Still a few treasure chests to be able to find things, though.
Ooh, looks like Goldmen have sleep. That's annoying.
There's still Garenham proper that has 3 keys. Or 3 chests, rather. There's the Mountain Cave, which has 5 treasure chests, and also there's one in Rimuldar. Plus, we have the search spot in potentially the Overworld, which will need coordinates, as well as in Hawksness, which we have not found what the guardian enemy is of that.
Yeah, Archfield took one look at Hawksness and went, how about no? Not that I can blame him at that point. He does have a broadsword he's got picked up, so he's got some attack, but Hawksness can be a really dangerous.
Yeah, usually you will want Heal More and or Hurt More to be able to even take a stab at whatever might be guarding in there. So still just a little early.
It looks like Archfield is slightly in the lead as far as XP goes. He's made it all the way to level 9. but the level spread is actually really thin. Jackie's really caught up on his experience. He's all the way back up to level 7, so still pretty much anybody's game. Right now, it's more, I think, who can find things first rather than an experience lead that's going to tell the difference here.
Well, having that Erdrick's armor is certainly an advantage. You can see walking through all those swamp tiles, not taking any damage. In fact, healing 1 hit point for every step of damage. That certainly allows for a more vast exploration. It's a smoother transition, or smoother transportation, I should say. It just
Yes.
allows to cover more ground quickly.
Yeah, some of the other people have gone through that swamp, but they had to use the heal spell to heal the way through it, which, you're going to be spending your resources doing that, which means you'll have less if something unpleasant shows up. Always something to consider.
Yeah, still fairly early here. The differential of experience only about 3 to 350, I believe. Oh, okay, 400 now as I'm looking at Jackimus's screen. So certainly a lot at stake here, and that having that Erdrick's armor also allowing for, well, fewer deaths here, and now Game Boy finding it as well. You can see that defense jumping on up there.
That agility score is actually nice at level 9. You notice that the number for agility is in orange instead of white. That means you're actually approaching the levels you kind of want to be at when you're actually facing off against the Dragon Lord.
And now here is Rimmeldar for Game Boy. He's going to do a little bit of perusing. Not really finding anything to his liking, but is going to head on down to the one treasure chest behind 2 locked doors. And it is a cursed belt. So it's a little bit of a whammy in this case here. Doesn't really do a whole lot for him.
Yeah, you can sell it for gold, but that's about it. Rimildar not as important with this particular flag setup. Normally, finding Rimildar is huge because it's the only place you could find keys, but they're not needed.
Well, it's the only place that has free access to keys, whereas you need to use a key to the other 2 areas to be able to purchase more keys, whether it's Tantagel or Cantlin. So we have a Sharlock sighting here.
Yeah, just at the bottom edge of Archfield's screen, right next to this town here that Wizard is in front of. Oh, Rimildar. So it's right there, right by Rimildar. So that might actually be an interesting spot if the spike tile in Charlock is worth grinding on. Rimildar could be a great place to go back, rest, and recover to reduce your cycle time and get that grind going faster.
Most certainly. So Game Boy recognizing the fire here and also hitting that stop spell. As Jack now looks like is going to be getting that gold grind on. And to answer the question in chat, this is a 4-way race. They are all racing for points here in the league, as each week points will be assigned based on the races here. So the first place finisher will gain 5 points, the second place finisher 3 points, third place gets you 2 points, and fourth place will give you 1 point.
Ooh, excellent move.
We have a question in chat here. Can you get a point if you forfeit? looking at all of the specifics here of the rules, kind of perusing through here. It talks about if you accidentally forfeit, if there's a technical issue, then all opponents may accept the result or may request a rematch. But in terms of scoring... I may have to defer to an administrator on that, as it just notes the first, second, third, or fourth. I don't know what would occur if multiple people forfeited, let's say one for... Okay, we aren't going to make a really bad run penalize you more than the seed already did. Okay, fair enough. So, yes, Tilo Tilo is one of our administrators here. He can confirm. So, yes, if you forfeit, if multiple people forfeit, we'll leave that to further discussion. Back into the race here, though.
Looks like everybody's been doing a lot of exploration. One of the continents has been completely explored now. And looks like Druid Lords have a heal too, which is a little bit obnoxious.
Well, at this
Wraith
point...
Knights would hurt more.
Yeah, our runners know where, at least a couple of our runners know where Hawksness is. They're just not necessarily ready for it. But ideally, they're looking for the town of Cantlin, they're looking for the town of Garanham, and they are looking for the Mountain Cave. Those are the remaining spots that can have some sort of an item here, as Archfield now going up to level 10 and getting the spell of Heal More.
That's a really critical spell to get. Heal More really expands your options because your healing suddenly becomes much more MP and efficient. So you can really start challenging things that before you really didn't want to play with.
Okay, and a clarification, as far as multiple forfeits in the same race, that is a subject that has not yet been broached, but that will be discussed among the administrators, and a ruling, should the scenario occur, will be made once that discussion occurs.
Ooh, interesting. Wraiths have both Stop Spell and Hurt. Now, if the people have the Erdrick's armor, if the runners do, like you had mentioned earlier, you're immune to Stop Spell. Those are basically free hits, and Hurt already doesn't do much. The armor reduces that further. So Wraiths, if you've got Erdrick's armor, are pretty much free. And hello! There's our first view of the Fun Police, the Red Dragons, over on Archfield Monk. Looks like we'll be sending him back to the castle.
Well, no, I was able to get away in this case here.
Ooh,
Thankfully,
hey, lucky run.
Thankfully, the Red Dragon casting the spell of Stop Spell, which, given that the Erdrick's armor is equipped, that doesn't take effect, so that saved an attack that would have otherwise sent Archfield back.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, they're really looking for the Stones of Sunlight and maybe a decent place to grind out if the stats aren't looking so good. And so just kind of looking at which enemies they're looking at that are kind of free, like those Wraiths with the Stop Spell and the Hurt. That's a pretty free fight if you've got Erdrick's armor on, so that's really something that the runners are going to be keeping kind of in the back of their head.
Yeah, one of many things they have to keep in the back of their heads. So here is Garanham for Archfield. Gonna do a little bit of digging, looking, and nothing worth purchasing in the weapon and armor side. Well, wait a minute, a little doubling back. Nope, thought better of it.
Nah, that's gotta be some of the most expensive chainmail I've ever seen at 14 grand.
Well, that's what happens when you use gold chain link. 24 karat.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta have the bling.
Hey, it worked for Scott Steiner in professional wrestling.
So would that then be bling mail?
Very possibly. So, Archfield now going to take a look, and we'll see what the 3 treasure chests contain here. So we've got a torch. Some big bucks. And some more big bucks. And in the back of Garanham, we have what I would imagine by process of elimination is the mountain cave. And Ruler 2112 in chat is correct. Yeah, 24 karat would be too soft, in that while it's pure gold, it doesn't exactly hold all that well. That's why 14 karat tends to be a little bit thicker, as it's a certain percentage that is melded with other metal to make something a bit more strong and finite.
Ooh, looks like Jackie ran into the Red Dragon, the fun police again. Currently the leader on the death board, but you know, he's still in the running by certain.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Jackamus is a very unorthodox player. He is somebody who will take a lot of gambles, and a lot of times those have paid off.
Well, nobody has found the big stick yet, and no one has found the stones of sunlight yet, which probably means the stones, at least, are probably going to be in that mountain cave, wherever it might be, and we might find the big stick down in Charlock.
Well, there's a good likelihood, but it is not a certainty, as one of the new changes or nuances to the 2.2 alpha version of Dragon Warrior Randomizer is the essential items like a silver harp, like a Stones of Sunlight, like Erdrick's sword can be in the search spots. So the Stones of Sunlight might be blocked by whatever is in Hawksness. It might be on the overworld and the coordinates are required. As we see here the statistics, so the Red Dragon...
This is actually a pretty friendly red dragon, all things considered. Once you get Erdrick's armor, it's got a 75% chance of casting a stop spell at you. That might be a potential late game grind component if they get stuck.
Let's see, back into Garanham we go. And I guess doing a little bit of clearing of inventory. Nope, he's going to purchase the Dragon Scale and put it on. That's going to add 2 additional defense points to Archfield's total. And even if he were to sell the Dragon Scale, those 2 defense points would remain.
Brian Williams hitting up the shop over in Rimildar, seeing the hand axe and picking that up for a mere 427. That's a discount.
And it looks like here doing a little bit of a soft grind here to get up enough for the large shield to get an additional 6 defense increase here, as Jack now finding the Erdrick's armor in the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave.
I don't think we've seen the silver shield yet, so we don't know what kind of price it's going to be at. but that's going to be about the only shield that might be better. So really what we're looking for is either weapons, for, as far as equipment goes, and of course, the stone.
Yeah, I think based on the towns that we have seen, I believe that the only one that might have the silver shield, if there's one even in here, I mean, it could be randomly rolled that it's not available at all, but if the silver shield was to be in this seed, it would be in the town of Cantlin that has 3 different weapon and armor shops.
And while normally one of those weapon shops would be blocked with a key that would normally be questionable to try and go into, it's free on this particular flag set. So you got a couple of different chances to try and find one.
Most certainly. And here we've got, okay, Rimmeldar for Jack here. Brian, meanwhile, is about a little less than 350 experience away from level 11.
Yeah, I'm not really liking these stats at level 10. Strength of 35 is not very strong at level 10.
Archfield Monk doing, ooh, CD Improv, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome into this Dragon Warrior Randomizer Week 1 inaugural race here for the 2020 Dragon Warrior Randomizer League. For those joining us alongside Sneaky the Lost, I am Ferran Burgundy, and we've got a 4-way race going here between Jackamus Wedge, Brian Williams 42, Game Boy F9, and Archfield Monk.
And just as a recap, all of our runners pretty much have 2 of the necessary items, the token and the harp. They're still looking for the Stones of Sunlight. I believe everyone now has Erdrick's armor, but of course the big stick is still out there. And right now we're just kind of in an exploration phase, trying to find the rest of our stuff that we... And yeah, as was asked in the chat, just as a recap, with the new flags, with the new randomizer version, the stones can be on a search tile, so it could be in Hawks, which has been found but not searched yet, and it could be on the coordinates in the overworld, which requires getting to Cantlin, that has also not yet been found.
Now, Archfield did see that the Fighter's Ring was picked up, and that was in the mountain cave, and having a little trouble. It's great being able to navigate a cave in the dark. When you're a commentator, it's not as great because you're trying to pick up on their movements and see exactly where they are and figure everything out. And there is a dragon scale. So I believe that is 2 of the 5 chests. I'm not sure what the other 3 were.
Yes, to answer the question in chat for Angel FM, I do believe we have seen every chest outside Charlock, which means the stones have to be on one of those 2 search spots.
Lorgon helping confirm here. So we had a fairy water, an herb, the fighter's ring, a dragon scale, and a 5th yet to be confirmed item that we know is not the Stones of Sunlight. If thou hast found the something, if thou wouldst like to keep thy something, well said by our restreamer Lord of the Synth. Cursed Belt, Eternal Newbie confirming. Okay. So yes, that means that the Stones of Sunlight, by process of elimination, have to be in one of the 2 remaining search spots, either in the overworld or in Hawksness.
Yep. Now level 11 got hurt more, which opens up some options. There are some enemies that are at least potentially taken out in one shot by a hurt more, like say the rather famous Axe Knight.
Yeah, majority of the time they are. And now Game Boy shedding some light on the subject here, so we'll be able to see exactly what's in the mountain cave.
Now we also haven't seen Cantlin yet, so there's still some more exploration to do on the overworld. That'll give them the coordinates, and if there are no coordinates, then the stones have to be over in Hawk. Well, here is a more mature Archfield, going back to Hawks, better equipped this time, a little bit more gear, and with the heal more and hurt more spells. So we'll see what's on that tile.
Now, it is possible also that Erdrick's sword can be on a search spot.
Quite true. Stone Man with baby breath.
Alright, so down there was an herb, an empty chest. It'll come up as empty if you've if you've taken the item that's in there and it's one of the key essentials. That way you can't take 2 Erdrick's tokens or 2 silver harps or anything of that nature. But if you've maxed out in either your keys, which aren't a thing in this particular seed, or in your herbs, it'll come up as an empty chest, as Game Boy now is at level 12, and, well, we've got the Red Dragon as the Guardian in Hawksness.
And with that 75% chance of a stop spell that we saw earlier when we peeked at its stats, that might be a really decent grind tile because they give some of the best XP in the game.
Yeah, we're just looking for some strength, though. That's the one holdback.
Yeah, with a strength of 49, you're not going to be slaying any Dragon Lords yet.
But the dragon here is slain, and that is going to send Archfield to level 12.
7, 6, and 6.
Looks like no strength gain. There are the Stones of Sunlight. And yes, that was 0 power for level 12, so the lack of strength gains continues.
And as another streamer, Empty Eye, would say, I love it!
Yes, taking a page from the Super Smash TV. He has 0 power, 0 various other stats. Not quite the same as big money, big prizes, but either way, he loves it. And a question in chat: what do the key chests get replaced by? I believe gold. So instead of 7 gold chests, you'll have 10 gold chests. And there is the rainbow drop for Archfield Monk.
And I think he's going to be heading out to Big C to take a peek in what's going on out there.
Well, this makes for an interesting decision. I mean, you have the ability to access Sharlock, and it is short Sharlock. So, the access to the remaining 7 treasure chests that are in there, it certainly is of some sort of temptation, and that might be the odds-on play given that there are these 7 treasures in there versus looking around the overworld spot for one item there.
Which also requires finding Cantlin and then asking the fellow for said coordinate.
So yes, I believe that the play here would be to go to Sharlock and raid its contents.
Looks like Brian Williams has made his way to Hawks. No, I was incorrect.
So yes, with the 81 defense that Archfield has, he has defense broken the wizard. Now, defense breaking, it's an interesting concept here, in that when your defense points are the same as or higher than an enemy's strength, a different attack range is calculated, resulting in less damage, in some cases even 0 hit points. Oh, I love it.
Interesting point made in chat. The question is, does he remember it's a short Sharlock seed? If he forgot that this is a short Sharlock, he may be wanting to try and find a better grind spot before risking, because remember, usually Sharlock is the main boss.
Wow, these new flags are certainly interesting. I know I have my challenges in remembering that the fairy water and torch can be used as weapons, and those are good ways to get things going in the early end. And here is Cantlin. So we'll see if there's a silver shield here, and if so, is it for cheap? It is... Oh, it is...
Ooh. 2,300 for the silver shield. Not bad. And the flame sword was there as well.
He's looking through, seeing what can be sold. He's going to sell a set of wings. Is that going to be enough? I don't know. He's going to sell the fairy water as well. We're just emptying the pack here. I forgot to see, or yeah, I forgot to keep track of it. I knew it was 23 something. Is it going to be enough here? Oh, he's still 20 short.
Oh, that's gotta burn.
Now, there's a question in chat. How does the fairy water work as a weapon? Now, normally the fairy water, if you sprinkle it, it wards off any enemies that their strength is the same as or lower than your defense. But in a battle, you can essentially throw the fairy water at an enemy, and it will, for all intents and purposes, the fairy water works like a hurt spell, in that it will do a random amount of damage between 9 and 16 hit points. Oh boy, we have coordinates. It's 80 south and 12 east.
And yes, there are runners who will just try to pace that out.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do so on this particular one. Usually, I don't know what the catch-all number is to kind of go, all right, we're going to go ahead and get the little assistance here to help guide where that is. What's known as the GPS. The Wayland Positioning System. Exactly.
Yeah, with 80 south, I'm betting that's on the second continent, which complicates counting things out.
Game Boy picking up the Stones of Sunlight and is going to grind on the Red Dragons a little bit. Meanwhile, Brian getting the coordinates as well. And now has enough for the Silver Shield. And with that buyback, should be able to... I was going to hold off on updating. Figured that there might be a Flame Sword purchase as well.
Maybe he didn't notice the price on the flame sword?
Well, if you're tunnel visioning to, oh my gosh, I gotta get enough for the Silver Shield, it's something that can be certainly and easily missed.
Oh, and there was a Sparko bridge there. One of the other people in the community, Sparkover, really gets a kick out of seeing bridges that goes to exactly nowhere.
Well, yeah, specifically a bridge to one tile, and her ultimate favorite is if it's a bridge over to a swamp tile. So Arch now up to 13. Game Boy utilizing this grind here and is already up to 14.
Yeah, I don't blame him for doing the grind on that red dragon. That's a lot of experience, and with all of those stop spells that are basically free hits, yeah.
So Game Boy now going in to trade in the Silver Heart for the Staff of Rain.
To answer a question, yes, we have seen Sharlock. We know where it is. It is just south of Ringledar.
And we're gonna lay down that rainbow drop, build the bridge over the troubled water, and right into an armored knight.
So are we going to be playing the pyramid game here?
That's an excellent question. Yeah, well, in this case, there are 8 different spots here. We've got the various pyramid spots there. The 6. Well, we're going to find out in a moment here.
Of course, the judges' table is much closer here, just being down that staircase there.
We got the death necklace, we got gold, we got the cursed belt, we've got some more gold, there's a torch, some more gold.
Uh-oh, doesn't look good. Is it at judge's table, or is it on the search spot?
And that's an herb. So yes, the sword is in the overworld, so it wasn't any of them this time around. So yeah, the search spots can only have, to answer a question in chat as to why it can only be that. There are only certain items that can be in the search spots, because you're not going to have an herb or a torch or a fairy water. So we know that the Death Necklace and Erdrick's Sword were the only 2 items, specialty items that were left. So if one of them was in a chest there in Sharlock, then by default, Erdrick's Sword has to be in the overworld.
So the big question is, Arch going to go into Swamp to go rescue the princess and get the Gwilyn positioning system, or is he just kind of bypassing, trying to count it out? In the meantime, Game Boy F9 also has his rainbow drop. The other 2 runners are closing in on the general location, so it shouldn't be too much longer for them.
There's a question in chat, where's the fella selling keys? Well, in this particular flag set, keys are not required, so all of the key salesmen are, I don't know, they're at a convention maybe, a meeting, maybe they just all decided, I'm gonna take the day off. Everybody else takes Monday off right after that big football game, so why not take Tuesday off instead?
Now, interestingly enough, Game Boy F9 just picked up both the Silver Shield and the Flame Sword from the vendor. Could give him a little bit of an advantage here, because Archfield is still toting around that broadsword.
Well, it's a difference of 8 attack power, which doesn't seem like a lot, but given the minimal gains here, level 14, still 53 attack, or 53 strength. That is, it's not a lot. And Archfield now, it looks like, is in the Swamp Cave, I believe, taking advantage of the grind spot, which is an Axe Knight, and is now going to go up to 14 and see 0 power, 2 speed, 15 hit points, 1 magic point, and a spell.
Looks like he has gone ahead and gotten the princess.
And it looks like Game Boy is going to follow suit to at least get the princess. Archfield has the princess rescued, but is just trying to utilize some of the MP and get a little bit closer to level 15. 5,000 gold is the target number to get level 15. And Game Boy, it looks like, will hit it here if he takes out this red dragon.
Oh. Brian Williams out at Hawksness got sent back by his red dragon. But it looks like Game Boy F9 cleared his up, no problem.
Oh, 1 power, 0 agility.
18 hit points, no MP. No, 1 MP? Wow.
Oh, boy. So to answer a question in chat, the Erdrick's armor was in the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave, which was off to the southeast.
Oh, man. Now, if you look at these stats there on the tracker, you'll see the numbers in green means you're good to go on those for the Dragon Lord fight. The MP is in orange. You really want to get a little bit better, but you're getting close. But that strength of 53 and the attack power of 75 for, say, Archfield, that's not going to cut it. You need over 100 attack power, otherwise you're going to be defense broken.
Pretty much. You'll just be swinging and missing, maybe occasionally doing 1 HP of damage, but wouldn't be recommended.
Now, interestingly enough, if you want to go risky, you could pick up a bunch of holy water, since, he can't resist it apparently, and start pitching him at.
Well, let's see here. So now on the other side of the cave, 81 south and 17 east, and that's not too terribly far here, and just going to walk 6 steps over. Oh, walked 7. Backtrack a bit here. No, maybe... What are we doing here? There it is, Erdrick's sword.
Alright, the big stick itself.
So that's going to add 20 additional attack power to Archfield's total, in comparison to the broadsword.
Yeah, but that's still not going to be enough to take on the Dragon Lord. Looks like we're going to do some grinding.
And an observation in chat, yes, the dog sprite, Tav the dog from Dragon Warrior 4, they created a good animation, or an interesting animation, where the princess will ride the dog like a horse, as opposed to being carried by the various heroes and whatnot.
But yeah, it looks like Archfield Monk and Game Boy F9 are kind of in a lead. Although, it's still anybody's game. RNG can still be very cruel.
Game Boy doing a pretty good job of catching up, picking up the Erdrick's sword as well, and now has the experience lead by about 400, and now both of them are getting on their Axe Knight grind.
Yeah, Axe Knight, very popular mob to grind on. because one hurt more's got a good chance of just one-shotting it, meaning you can cycle through those guys really fast. And of course, Tantagill Castle is just upstairs, so you can get back here real fast, making it just about an ideal grind spot.
There are a litany of different sprites that can be used, including playing as Princess Gwaelin, in which, in that instance, you would rescue Prince Guimond.
Looks like Jackamus is going after the red dragon guarding the Stones of Sunlight.
And the resources pretty much worn out here, and at least for the moment, well, Arch is going after the Axe Knight. I guess going to just take it all the way to the death here.
Oh, without enough MP to cast another hurt more, yeah. Game Boy F9 running into the Fun Police. 1 hit point left.
Oh, and there's still the stop spell. Game Boy hanging on. 1 HP, 1 MP. That 75% stop spell giving him a chance here, and he takes out
with
the
1
Red Dragon.
HP left. He takes down the Fun Police.
And Ruler asking in chat, death would be faster than walking upstairs. Yes, that is the case, but he figured, alright, if I can get the level first and then take the death, that'll give a little bit more of everything based on those gains. And you can see a 200 experience differential as both of them death warping Game Boy and Archfield back to the castle. And they're going to keep on going with that grind.
Yep, looks like he did pick up some strength with that level 16, but not enough, and the MP really isn't where they want it to be either. Of course, you've got less MP expenditure because you don't have to trek all the way through Charlock, so you can pretty much save all of your heal mores, but you still want enough heal mores to be able to kind of beat them down.
That certainly is the plan and idea, but I have a hunch based on things here that unless there's a ginormous level 17, that we may not be going anywhere for a while, so we may want to grab our trademarked candy bar of choice.
Yeah, settle in. This might take a while. It's going to be mostly the strength and the MP we're going to be looking at here. And thank you. You just beat me to it, Lorgon. In the chat channel has gone ahead and linked all of the links to the Twitch TVs for our runners. That would be Jackamus Wedge, Brian Williams 42, Archfield Monk and Game Boy F9, and of course the restreamer Lord of the Synth, commentary myself, Sneaky the Lost, and the veteran Fearin Burgundy with Cyberdark holding the tracker down.
Brian and Jack looking to move things along here as Jack now is in Charlock and is checking the various chests and is going to get the not-so-good news that, well, Erdrick's sword is out in the overworld somewhere.
Honestly, I don't blame him for checking Charlock first. It's, 7 or 8 different chances to get it versus the one chance it's really out of the way, so you can't blame a guy for trying, but unfortunately he's gonna get some bad news here.
Well, it's the odds on play. It's the you figure, well, there's one spot over here, or there's 7 over here. You got an 87% chance of finding it. It's just in this case it's like going to the roulette wheel and hitting on the green 00. Here's level 17 for Game Boy. 5 strength, 1 agility, 11 HP, and
8 MP.
8 MP, and no Angel FM, not 141 2/3% chance. I already made a Scott Steiner reference earlier in this seed.
So our MP totals are just about where we'd want them to be for the fight. 80 MP should be enough since you don't have all of Charlock to do. It's a little bit low, but I'd feel pretty comfortable trying for it with a short Charlock. The only kicker is that AP, because when you're going up against that Dragon Lord, the formula is you take your attack power, you subtract 100, divide by 2. That's your biggest hit. Divide by 2 again, that's your lowest hit. So with an attack power of 109 that our 2 fellows in the lead have, you're looking at 4 to 2 damage a hit. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah, it would take 55 hits on average to take out the second form of the Dragon Lord. And given the constant breath that it has, doing, well, with Erdrick's armor, 42 to 48 hit points of damage, and only 10 heal mores, it's not going to get it done. Yeah, Lord of the Synth noting, our streamer is noting in chat that it'll give a paper cut to the Dragon Lord.
It's not but a flesh wound.
It's a flesh wound. Come on, then. So, yeah, still ways to go here, and the next target number that Archfield and Game Boy are looking for is 9,500. That will be what gets them to level 18.
As was pointed out in the chat, they have now defense broke the Axe Knight, which means the Axe Knight is no longer even remotely a threat for them. Downside is it's a little bit harder to get that Death Warp to get back upstairs to refresh your MP if you...
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say not a complete threat, but the Axe Knight can do anywhere from 0 to 16 hit points of damage once you hit that magic defense number of 94. And yeah, as noted here, the differential of experience, it's kind of hung around the same. It's at the moment 430. And now going to close in again with Archfield taking out that Axe Knight, so it's been pretty even along the way here, but now Archfield taking the Death Warp here, and Game Boy's still going on, so this will allow him to pull up a bit of a lead here. And Ryguy, I'm hard-pressed to disagree. Welcome on in. So there is level 18, only 2 more strength, 9 agility, 7 HP, and 2 MP. I think we gotta go to 19.
I think we gotta. Looks like Brian Williams has gone into Garanham's grave, has finally found it, and so he's gonna get the bad news that there's not much down there.
So, question, what are the stats for the Death Necklace play these days? Well, you'd still want a minimum of 130, 129 HP, and if you put on the Death Necklace, it will reduce your maximum HP by 25%, but for that cost, it will give you an additional 10 attack power. And now here is 18 for Archfield.
You know, I mean, there's something to be said for that with these stats. At 144 hit points, you can afford to shave a few off, and 10 AP would put you up to 121, which would be 10 to 5. That's not that's starting to get into better viability state.
Yeah, but 22 attacks on average and only 10 heal mores, that math doesn't add up. They would need to get a double each time around, and is Game Boy, is he going for it here, or is he at least
I
going to
think
go for the
he's
death
just going to
necklace?
stick his nose in.
Bad dog.
No, he's already got the sword sent, or at least Game Boy does.
Yeah, the sword is in the overworld, and Game Boy did get the princess and use the coordinates.
Now, another interesting thing is we don't know what's on the spike tile in front of the Dragon Lord either. That might be a secondary option, although with Axe Knights available so close to Tentacle Castle, I would just keep staying there personally. But then again, that might be the wrong place. I mean, if you can grind up on some red dragons at 200 a pop, you know, that's a pretty sizable XP.
Brian Williams hopefully now will be able to catch up, as having just found Erdrick's armor 71 minutes into this race.
Which makes him the final runner to be able to find that particular piece of gear. So now everyone's got the.
Now remember, just because we have a first place finisher does not mean that the race is necessarily over, as they are playing for point value based on their placement. So the first place runner here will obtain 5 points in this week's Form of the League. The second place runner will get 3 points, the third place runner 2 points, and the fourth place finisher 1 point.
Ooh.
And Game Boy is putting on the Death Necklace now. He's going for it here.
And with an HP total of 108, he's still pretty comfortable about that. Although, like we were mentioning, 121
oh my gosh.
attack isn't quite a...
Level 19, 0 power.
Ooh. Unfortunate. I'm sure Empty Eye would be ecstatic by now.
Is 0 power, 1 agility, 2 MP.
Yeah, meanwhile, Archfield has taken the XP lead and is continuing to grind against that Axe Knight. Just barely starting to pull ahead. He's only, what, 500... 400, something like that ahead. So
At this point, yeah, it's a give or take about 500 experience. It's been going back and forth. It's because Archfield has dedicated himself to the grind, while Game Boy has... looks like he is going for it here.
Jackie is also in the Dragon Lord's lair as well. Looks like he's actually going to be checking out that spike tile.
And a point made by Ragai in chat here. Game Boy is gambling that 19 will be the gain on 19 would be enough, but once he sees it here, I wonder if there will be a change in strategy.
Meanwhile, Brian Williams has found the Axe Knight in Swamp Cave and is starting to grind that out.
And there is the death for Archfield, so that, for the moment, gives about a 600, now down to about a 500 lead.
taking a safety save here.
Maybe Archfield's trying to gamble here as well.
Oh, looks like he's going back downstairs. Looks like the spike tile is... Is that gold on the spike tile?
No, both are a little
No.
further up here.
Yeah, no.
I know it's short Sherlock, but it's not that short.
And a lot of armored knights around.
And there's a red dragon. That's gonna get Archfield over the 12,000 mark, and it is an Axe Knight, it looks like. And a nice crit on Game Boy's part as well. So this is just gotten really interesting here.
Is he gonna try and grind out 20 on site and then go jump the Dragon Lord? Be interesting to see if his resources will hold up for that. I mean, he's still got 82 MP. That's enough. Yeah, he's using herbs there to heal up. So, yeah, he's going to try and grind out on these Axe Knights. And then as soon as he hits 20, assuming he's got the stats, he's going to try and go for it. Already being on site.
Well, the target number for level 20 is 13,000 experience. Archfield is 385 away. Game Boy is now 602 away.
Now, I'm sorry, Fury SK, I'm not going to repeat that for fear of invoking the commentator's curse.
Well, you needn't worry, as we are just seconds away from finding out what level 20 brings to the table. We have 11 power, 1 speed, 7 hit points, 7 magic points. I think that's going to be enough.
There you go. That's it.
With the Death Necklace, absolutely. Archfield is getting on out of there, but will it be too little too late, as Game Boy already in prime position to get to the Dragon Lord? Archfield still has to take an in-stay.
This is gonna get real interesting real fast. He'd better hurry up and get back down to Charlock.
But another point made by Lorgon here, the MP gain, Archfield will have that with the 91, so he'll have 11 heal mores. Game Boy only with 10. He's up to 132 attack power, so it's going to be a range of 8 to 16.
Now,
so you're looking at 14 attacks on 10 heal mores. He's hoping for doubles here.
Does he have any fairy water?
That's an excellent question, as that is a factor. Well, he was able to two-shot the first form of the Dragon Lord, and here we go, 150 to 165. So we're starting off with an attack for 10. Now we're at 22. Now 33. Here's another heal more here. Ooh, and a single digit roll. We're up to 42. So yeah, these are definitely subpar rolls here. Oh, and a minimum roll 8, we're at 50. Now 65. Gets the double here. 74 now for Game Boy.
Meanwhile, Archfield is rounding the corner here, about to find his own Axe Knight trap.
Now 97 for Game Boy. He gets another double here. 110. Oh, and a big 15, 125. 2 Healmores left. Oh, and a minimum 8, 133. But he gets the double. 142. I think that last double will be enough. $154. It's going to take the last heal more for safety here, but this should do it. 165, and Game Boy is going to take first place. Now just a matter of casting return. Walking up the path, getting the accolades from the king. Meanwhile, Archfield about to go into the Dragon Lord battle. And get out your GGs in chat if you have not already, as Game Boy is going to take first place in a huge 5 points with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 15 seconds.
Meanwhile, Archfield Monk is in the middle of his battle with the Dragon Lord. Now, he came in with a little bit better position. He's got an extra heal more in his back pocket, so he should have a fairly smooth ride.
And he used a different strategy. He put on the Death Necklace during the first Dragon Lord form battle. Now again, it is not over here, as the next place finisher here, which pending something going severely awry, should be Archfield here. That'll get him 3 points here after the first week, and then Jack and Brian battling for third place and 2 points versus 1 point for the fourth place finisher.
Now, Jackamus is heading out to Rimildar to heal up at the inn, and is going to be going down and grinding on that Axe Knight. Meanwhile, Brian Williams has been grinding out in the Swamp Cave trap tile, doing a pretty good job getting himself an experience lead over Jackamus at the moment.
And we are joined here in the commentator booth by our first place finisher, Game Boy F9. Congratulations and GG on the big 5 points for you.
Oh, thank you. That was a slog.
Yeah, it wasn't the race that we had earlier this evening, was it?
No.
Although that was a slog for me, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, yeah, in that race, the race was over in 50 minutes or something like that. What was the winning time? 52:15 it was.
Yeah,
so.
52:15 for you and me, almost a half hour longer than that, but that's a whole nother story. Archfield taking second place here, as he has just finished up and getting Princess to go with him here. The official time, 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 31 seconds.
Oof.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
pretty close. Yeah, a little over 2 minute differential.
Yeah.
Your decision to go after the spike tile down in Charlock instead of the one in the Swamp Cave actually was what got you the victory.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a risk. I mean, there were 3 good spike tiles this seed in the end.
Yeah, the fun police were actually kind of polite this time.
Yeah, we had what we call an ice cream ticket fun police. But I see the question from Lorgon where he asked any doubts going to Sherlock earlier with the excuse me, with the defense power, I figured I could grind indefinitely. I definitely thought it was a gamble, a pretty solid gamble. And what was I at? 69 strength at the time at level 18. So, but I was like, it is very late in the game. There's got to be a big boost coming up at 19. So I went ahead and took the gamble, and it didn't pay off. But I was like, okay, Axe Knight is the grind tile. I can just keep going on this, and I have 6 herbs to help me out. And fortunately, that helped me out in the end because I was just like right there and it's over. But I guess everybody else went to the swamp cave.
Yes, that looks to be the case. Although currently Jack is following the play here and is grinding on the Axe Knights in that spike tile in Charlock.
Yeah, looks like he's sending the Axe Knights through the scanner.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know if you necessarily took a gamble as much as it was a calculated risk.
Yeah, well, risk,
mincing
gamble.
words, I suppose.
Yeah, let me ask you, how did you like that early game with the ghosts and the magicians, all with the wombo combo?
Bear with me a second. I'm doing a little bit of administration here. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, all of those early enemies, the Drakies, the ghosts, the magicians, all with the wombo combo.
Oh, did the Drakies have it too? I didn't notice the Drakies did. I know the ghosts were bad, and the magicians weren't great. And the wolves had heal more, so that wasn't fun. And I was like, oh, geez, I'm going to be about 10 hours behind. And I think that's what I always think with situations like that. But the fact of the matter is, we all have to struggle with it somewhere. So, fortunate, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So, looking ahead here to next week, the week 2 flag sets. Yeah, chaos.
Hey, a lot of people are looking forward to watching some chaos. So, like the Duncan Melvin's Chaos Tournament winner over here that just commented in chat.
So yeah, no keys, short Charlock, very fast experience similar to this, but the enemy statistics are randomized as well. Their strength, their agility, their hit points, the experience that they give, the gold that they give.
Yeah.
It is it is a very polarizing set of flags, to say the least.
But I mean, this is the league where you have to show your proficiency in everything about the randomizer. So therefore, we got to do a chaos week. So here we go. I definitely will say that I struggle in chaos, but we'll see what happens.
Yep, and Brian Williams just getting the unfortunate news about level 19 and the strength gains or lack thereof.
Yeah, looks like he's gonna. Hey, I'm guessing he's off to Charlock and gonna do the same thing everybody else has been doing at this point. What else was going on that seed? Who was the first to Erdrick's armor?
I believe Archfield was.
Archfield? By a significant margin, or?
Not by that much. You found it pretty early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't keeping track of all the times. I know that Brian had just found Erdrick's armor about 17 minutes ago.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, it was in the 72nd minute.
Yeah, it was you definitely had to haul it a long way in order to get over there. I was very fortunate I was able to do that.
But yeah, Archfield pretty much beelined for it, and then you ran across it.
Yeah, definitely pretty fortunate that I found it when I did, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a town!
Yeah, a couple of nearby towns. It depended on whether you went northeast to Breckenary or southwest to Cole. least Cole brought you the, I believe it was the silver harp, if I recall correctly.
Oh, I don't even remember the rest of it. I remember I was like, oh, that was a great maneuver to Erdrick's armor and all this good stuff, and yep.
Let's see, a question in chat. What is chaos in present context? Yeah, since the more recent ones kind of broke everything up in that regard.
Yeah, it's just it's a particular flag set, and I mean we're gonna show that to you in next week for sure. But basically, pretty much Ferran said it just a few minutes ago. Is like it randomize monster stats, randomize weapon prices, randomize experience requirements. We'll actually see that for a couple weeks. The only we'll see that again in the playoffs. The only exception is we won't randomize the monster stats because that's just crazy.
Yeah, the probably the simplest way to explain the difference between week 2 and this, there are only 3 changes. In addition to everything you've seen here, the experience requirements from one level to the next is randomized, and the monster statistics and monster experience in gold are randomized as well. Otherwise, it's a carbon copy of what you've seen here.
Yep. All right. Well, on that note, I think Archfield has joined us, so I'm going to go ahead and bounce on out. So, good game, Archfield, and we'll see you all later. And thanks for Synth for restreaming and the commentary, and Cyberdark for tracking.
GG Game Boy. Hello, Randomania.
It was definitely back and forth between you and Game Boy. Looks like the pivoting point or turning point was heading into level 19. Game Boy took a calculated risk and went into Sharlock, thinking that 19 might be the level, went to the spike tile, saw that it was the Axe Knight, and just did a grind there to 20, and didn't use any MP, just used some herbs. And that allowed him to just be right there ready to take on the Dragon Lord while you still had to go to the inn. Got an extra heal more out of it, but by the time you were entering Sharlock, Game Boy was already well into the Dragon Lord battle.
Ooh.
Okay.
Maximus with a really risky going against the Dragon Lord. Looks like it didn't work out for him, though.
He probably saw that Game Boy and Archfield had finished and thought, okay, 19 must be the level, not realizing that, well, 20 is where the significant strength gain of 11 came in. Now, an additional note, and this is something that we hadn't really pointed out in the early part of the seed here, but Jackamus with a different build than the other 3 runners. Depending on the first 4 characters of your name, that calculates a little bonus for 2 of the 4 statistics: strength, agility, hit points, and magic points. A majority of the runners use the bonus to strength and hit points. Jack is one of, I don't want to necessarily say the few, but is one of the minority who uses a strength agility build. So you can see at level 19, the hit points are lower, although he already has the death necklace on, but the agility is 8 points higher than Brian's.
That was, interestingly enough, something that was on my mind throughout the seed, is the agility just kept climbing and climbing and climbing. I'm going, oh goodness, we've got all this HP, and Jack's gonna have so much agility, because I know he always plays strength agility.
Well, that might actually not be to the advantage of the runners in future weeks when we have auto repel go. Because
permanent repel, yeah, that's one of the things that comes up later.
It'll be interesting to see how those weeks go out. But yeah, no, seriously, Archfield, you actually beat Game Boy F9 to a lot of the critical items. You were the first one to the armor, the first one, I believe, to the sword, first one to a lot of the critical items. You are actually doing pretty solid job.
Well, thank you. I had a feeling the armor get was, just one of those things. I picked a direction and went on the first continent. And, sometimes you stumble into that stuff, so pick that up out of the Stones of Sunlight Cave. I regret a little bit not searching around a little more so that I knew where Remolder and Charlock were sooner. But I'd be a little surprised to hear that I was first to the sword. It felt like that was really late, actually. It was the last item I picked up, and I'd probably taken an ill-advised trip to Charlock just to see. I knew I'd probably need both the Death Necklace and Erdrick's sword, and since there were coordinates, I knew that one of them had to be there, so I should have just taken care of that business first and left clearing the Charlock treasury and the vanilla chest until later. It didn't really dawn on me until I was almost there, so I figured sunken cost, we'll just take a look, get some experience in Charlock, and then head back out. But yeah, I mean, GG to Game Boy. I felt like that was pretty smooth. The exploration luck was pretty good, and I didn't make too many critical mistakes, I didn't think, so he must have run a heck of a race.
Yeah, I mean, it was down to the wire. I really think the primary differentiation was that when he hit 18 and almost 19, he went off to go grind at the Axe Knight in front of the Dragon Lord, hoping that 19 was going to be the level, and then just ground up to 20 since he had defense broken the Axe Knight, and then went. So he was already on site right there, whereas you had to trek all the way from Swamp Cave.
Well, exactly, and that's kind of my second small regret, and it's actually growing slightly larger as we talk about it, is that I didn't check the spike tile when I went to Charlock the first time, because if I know the Axe Knight's there, that's actually faster to grind that tile, cast outside, go to Remolder, and heal and come back. It's roughly the same as having to walk all the way down through Swamp Cave. I don't know that it would have been too bad to just set up there and grind, or like Game Boy did, go on 19. If you think the next level could be the level, and you think that spike could be valuable, then, I mean, we were defense breaking a lot of stuff at that point that could possibly be on the spike tile. So that was a really good play by him, and that's why he's one of the best players of this game.
Well, that's the whole point of the randomizer, is you really don't know what you're gonna get. So, you play conservative.
That doesn't sound good.
I hear someone.
Oh, there's Brian.
There's a brain?
There's
Yeah,
some
you got
arrangement
me.
of those letters. Yes, Jack.
I hear someone. Yeah, you got me.
Maybe have them rejoin the thingamahoozle here?
So Brian, GG.
Wap wope.
I don't know if I'm going to talk over somebody, but
Well,
I
for the moment, it doesn't
feel
look
like I
you
looked
are.
in all the wrong places.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh goodness. Okay. I was
Welcome
apparently
back,
talking
Rob.
into the wind for the better part of 5 minutes.
I don't know if I'm going to talk
So it's
over
kind of like
somebody,
my own stream.
but
The joys of Discord.
Yes.
This don't
I
seem to happen too often,
feel
but I
like
guess
I
it's
looked in
a
all
little
the
bit
wrong
annoying when it does,
places.
Just a little bit, Jack, that's for sure.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Hanging in. All right, we're working on getting my broadcast partner, Sneaky, back here.
Okay, is that on?
There we go.
There.
All
now I think
right.
everything's working.
Technology, huzzah.
All right.
Yeah. Gotta love it.
So Brian, how did the seed treat you?
Okay, so we're all going through to stream, but not to each other on Discord, apparently. So,
That's quite odd, but we'll deal.
yep, we just we just make do with what we've got.
Exactly.
So yeah, we've got the points that we're giving out there, and we've got another one of these things next week, which is going to have all of these elements plus 3 additional elements that are affectionately known as chaos. The required experience to the next level being randomized, as are the enemy's statistics and experience and gold that they give out.
That'll be interesting.
It certainly will. It's definitely popcorn viewing, to say the least.
You know, I could go for some popcorn right about now. I'm kind of hungry. That took a while.
Yeah, it's it certainly wasn't a jet seed by any means.
Well, the potential was there, but there were issues that I had, so didn't help me none.
So tell us, how did you like the opening of that seed and all those enemies you were finding that were so warm and hug?
I thought it was funny, honestly, but it's kind of frustrating that I didn't really accomplish anything at all until about 40 minutes in, so I knew I was doomed the whole way through, so I was just kind of having fun with it at that point.
It's a good mindset to have. I'll have to keep that in mind for my race tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, it's Dragon Warrior Rando. On top of, you know, the randomness of the randomizer, the game itself can be pretty random in whether or not you're allowed to hit things or roll decent damage or whatever. So you just kind of take it in stride. You really can't be too serious about this. You can't feel too bad when you lose. Can't feel too good when you win. Just sit back, enjoy the show, have some fun, right?
Seconded.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all here to have fun. It's not like this is a cash prize tournament or anything, right?
Yeah, no cash, no prizes, no. Well, yeah, Angel asking sarcastically if we have fun with this thing.
Oh yeah, totally. It's great.
Just needs more beer, but that's a whole nother story.
Oh, I've got plenty. I'm good on that front.
Oh, you're good on that front.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have finished there, but I was just thinking of the prospect of walking back there, and it's like, nah, I think I'm good for now. I already know I'm last since everyone else has done, so why beat a dead horse? Let's just chat for a few minutes and all that, you know?
Yeah, that was an unfortunate death you got from the Dragon Lord there.
Uh, just, he was rolling good and I wasn't, so I mean, I didn't have full MP going in the fight, but with the stats I have, I probably shouldn't have needed it, but that's just how she goes.
Yeah, that was just a rough progression there. Everyone ended up putting on that death necklace, by the way.
Oh yeah, no doubt whatsoever there. The strength was just completely atrocious. Like, I put the death necklace on at, I think, 14 because I'm like, alright, this is taking too long. I need to be able to kill things faster.
Did you ever consider picking up some holy water or something?
Holy water?
Fairy water.
Or fairy water, yeah.
Oh no, I had repel. I was using that by the time I actually wanted to use fairy water like things. I had repel, so whatever.
Oh.
No, I mean using it as an item in combat to do damage. That's one of the new flags in this season.
Or one of the new twists is that torches and fairy water can be used as projectile weapons toward early level enemies. Torches do damage anywhere between 6 and 9 hit points, and fairy water works just like a hurt spell, does anywhere from 9 to 16.
Okay, I didn't know that the fairy water was actually an attack item. That would have changed things a bit, I think. But I knew about the torches, but I just couldn't seem to get decent rolls with them. So I think my first kill was like 11 minutes in or something. So that was funny. But yeah, holy water or fairy water is an attack item. I thought it was just the torch, so I guess I probably should have looked at the rules a little more closely because that actually would have been quite useful since, I mean, Breckenary was just right there and you had all the money in the world. So yeah, that would have probably cut about 20 minutes off of my time. Oh well.
It's a learning experience. I know I'm going to run into similar issues tomorrow because I even knowing the rules, I still forget. I'm still in that tunnel vision from a year or two ago of how things were, not how things have changed.
Yeah, of course. Like, I don't think I've even played this since the last tournament we had, so I obviously had no idea about that at least. Oh well, I'm glad I know now. That might be quite useful for whatever ends up going down next week.
Absolutely. And any last thoughts here before we wrap things up here for the evening?
Let's go, Bruins!
Well, I knew that was coming from Jack. I was that was an inevitability. Archfield, anything else?
No, I think we basically covered it. That was summed it up pretty well. So just GGs again to Game Boy and Brian and Jack. It was an interesting seed.
Make sure to give our runners a follow here: Jackamus Wedge, Brian Williams 42, Archfield Monk, and Game Boy F9. And also show some love to the folks behind the scenes as well. Our restreamer Lord of the Synth, our tracker Cyberdark86, and for my co-commentator Sneaky the Lost, I'm Ferran Burgundy saying until next time, may your moves be excellent and your seeds stay classy. We're now going to send you on over to Randomania 2 for another Dragon Warrior Randomizer League race. This one between Captain Green 7, Mr. Holmes, Tristal, and Asher 1611. Good night, everyone.
Good morning, Fearon.
Good. Yeah, that